That's the refueling jet. Not sure who's watching, so I'll just tell you what I'm doing. This is a Spitfire LF Mark 9. And it's about as close as you can get to actually being a Spitfire. It's now showing 0 viewers, so I'm going to assume that the one person that was there has gone, unless they want to put a note on the chat to say, oh, I'm still here. I'll talk through it anyway, so that if anyone wants to watch this retrospectively, they will get some kind of commentary. So I've centered my view. I'm now in a position where I can look fairly straightforward ahead and see my rudder pedals moving as I move my feet. I think the first thing I'm going to do in this is put on the power. The power switch is just about, I have to duck down to see this. So now you'll see that the gear is showing us down. Power is on. Let's put the panel lights on. There's 2 covers just above the fuel cock lever and to the right of those panel light switches that I just did. It's difficult for me to do it. Oh, if I lean forward. Those 2 there are covers to the booster and starter buttons. I can hear that jet going over. There he is. He'll fly about a bit. In DCS, people can take aircraft that could refuel from that jet. So I'll undo the covers. And there's the 2 buttons, booster and starter buttons. But I have to press at the same time, which I can't with the mouse, of course. I have to use the home and delete keys on the keyboard to do that. Check that my control surfaces are all working okay. Aileron, elevator, rudder. Back in the cockpit. Right. Now the next thing I've got to do is make sure that the parking brake is fully on. This silver lever is a parking brake. If that's not on when I start the aircraft will start to roll forward. Be pulled forward. So I'm going to make sure that is on. I've got a lever there for that. Doesn't move very far, and as you can hear, it's pneumatically operated. Brake is on. Next thing I need to do is make sure that the prop pitch lever is fully forward, so that the prop pitch is in a fully fine position. That's my prop pitch lever, and it controls the revs of the engine because it's a constant velocity type revs, constant velocity engine effectively. Later on I will want to adjust that once I've taken off to 2700 revs by adjusting the prop pitch lever. So, and as I said, this is about as close as you can get to being in a spit in reality, because everything here is as per a spit. If I don't start this the right way, it won't start. And if I was to get in a spit Mark 9, I'd be able to start it. I would be able to start it in a real spit using this process, because all the controls are realistic, properly realistic. So I'm gonna open the, well, I'm gonna put on the fuel pump. You might hear that, hopefully. It's not loud, but it is audible. And open up the fuel cock, which is that lever right in the center of the view now. So, fuel pump is on, fuel cock is open, brake is on, fuel prop pitch is set to fully fine. So before I can start the engine, I need the magnetos on. The magnetos are what are going to effectively supply sparks to the spark plugs. Magnetos are on. So panel lights are on. Covers, the booster and starter button covers are open. Brake is on. Fuel is on, fuel cock is open, and the magnetos are on. So now I need to prime the engine. So now by pressing both of those buttons at the same time and hitting a lever, a button around the back of my throttle, that button, once the engine is turning over and starts to catch, that button will throw forward the mixture lever, and therefore the engine will run properly. So let's give that a shot. Okay, that's running fine. I should really have asked for permission to start the engine, so I'll do that retrospectively. Radio is now on the correct frequency. Let's see if Voice Attack will take notice of me speaking, and I'll tell it to ask for permission.
Mazda, Chevy 1-1, request startup. Chevy 1-1, Mazda, cleared for startup.
I've asked respectively, but at least I've got permission to start the engine. I now need to get permission to taxi to the runway.
Mazda, Chevy 1-1, request taxi to runway.
But in the meantime, I'll set my altitude, my nose down trim, and my rudder trim.
Chevy 1-1, Mazda, clear to taxi to runway 26.
That's the altitude set. Now I'll set the nose down. I like about 1/3 of a division below the neutral mark. I have to hold my head still for this. because the track IR makes it becomes very sensitive when you're zoomed in. Right, adjust my rudder trim. So that's there. Okay, a bit of right rudder, bit of nose down. I'm in a position now where I can taxi. I feel as though I'm talking to myself, and I probably am, but if there's anyone there, can you give me a hi in the chat, please? Okay, so I'm guessing no one's there. Nevertheless, I'll carry on talking. I've got permission to taxi, so I'm going to move forward. Now, to taxi in this, if I want to turn right, it's right rudder and apply the parking brake. That brake will then apply braking to the right wheel because I'm using right rudder. In the same way, to turn left, it's left rudder and adjust the brake so that braking is applied to the left wheel so that I turn left. I don't need more than about 800 revs to taxi, so I'll throttle up a little bit. So there's the throttle under my hand there, and I'll move it to in the region of about, actually I said 800, I don't mean 800, I mean about 1400. About 1400 RPM. And it's most uncomfortable. This is the way a spit works. A P51, the Mustang, has toe brakes. Spit never had toe brakes. It uses this central brake, which then puts braking on the appropriate wheel depending on the position of your rudder pedals. I've got to turn left here. When I get to the runway, I won't pull onto the runway properly. I'll ask for permission to take off. The runway is directly ahead. I will turn right onto the runway when I get there and when I've got permission. I'm going to hold about here and get permission.
Mazda, Chevy 1-1, request takeoff.
And I know he's going to say yes, so I'm going to move off.
Marduk, you are cleared for takeoff when ready. Climb 300 at QFE 29.39.
Okay, I'm nicely positioned on the runway, I think. That's good enough. It's a bit wonky, but I'll straighten up as I go. I might straighten up before I go. The cockpit is open. The canopy is slid back because if I have some kind of a mishap on takeoff, ground crew and fire people want to be able to drag me out without having to fight through a cockpit first. You know, without the canopy being in the way. So the canopy's slid back for takeoff and similarly for landing. Oh yeah, I can see I'm a bit wonky now. I think that's more like it. Yeah, that's more like it, isn't it? Okay, now to take off, which is tricky. One lady who transported Spitfires during the war said she was a lady in the air but she was a bitch on the ground. When she's up, it's fine. Taxiing is uncomfortable. Take off, you have to be very careful. You're constantly what they call dancing on the rudder pedals. So it sort of looks like that as you're taking off, constantly dancing on the rudder pedals to keep it straight as you take off. Once you're up, it's a bit more controlled. So to take off, I have to first of all give full up elevator, full right aileron, throttle up, well take the brake off, then throttle up sort of fairly smoothly but fairly quickly. And as I do that, I'm letting the stick come back to its normal position. And then once I'm up, I have to get my gear up. There's my gear light. That'll go from down to up in red. So I have to get my gear up, adjust my trim because it's difficult for me to fly when the trim is nose down. So I tend to get the trim fairly early. That might be wrong, but I tend to want to get the trim done next. Once I've finished trimming, which I will get that needle to show about 1 division of nose up instead of 1/3 of a division nose down. So once I've trimmed it, I will then adjust the prop pitch, that's over here, that lever, adjust the prop pitch to give me 2,700 revs, at which point I can then close the canopy. So let's see if I can do that without completely crashing to bits. I have to concentrate now. Brake off. Gear up. Trim's adjusted. Prop pitch is adjusted. Now I can close the canopy. There are some ground units on the other side, south of the airfield, so I'm gonna hit them. That's my usual test, just to see how everything's working. Now to hit them, I've got to turn on my guns and put my sight on. So put my illuminated sight on. With that switch forward, there's the illuminated sight, and make my guns ready. There's a little pip on the top of the stick. Out, fire. So my guns are ready, my sight is turned on, so all I've got to do now is find the target, which I wasn't looking for. Oh, I turned in the right. Oh yeah, I took off and turned the opposite direction to what I normally turn. So that's why I wasn't finding it so easily. Okay, I can see where I need to head. I can see a train on the railway at the moment. I could shoot that train at the if I wanted to and sort of blow the engine up. That course is a bit of a log jam because other trains coming along can't get past it, so I won't do that. Not yet anyway. There's also a line of trucks on the grass, which I can just about see, though the viewer might not see them yet. That would have been a bad pass. I'll try it again. Now there's the line of trucks. I'll go for these tankers that are on the road. Bang. Earlier on I said about if I destroy the train it causes a log jam, so let's just see if I can demonstrate that. He stopped. So now any other trains coming from that direction at least are going to be stuck behind him, so you get a long trail of trains. I'll go for another of those tankers and then I'll go in for a landing. I'll return to base, land. Okay, RTB. To land I have to open the canopy, I have to set my prop pitch fully forward so that it's fully fine. Drop my gear at about 140, get over the runway in that region, drop the flaps in the region of 120 or less. But first open the canopy, it's going to get noisy. Make a turn for the runway. Throttling back a bit now. Throttling right back in fact. Prop pitch fully forward. I need to lose some speed, I'm too fast. That's better, drop the gear. Drop flaps. Cut back on the throttle. Now that's what I get for looking at the chat, isn't it? It's not that there's anything to look at, but I was looking at the chat box I have on screen as an overlay, so I stopped looking at what I should have been looking at. Did I do any damage? Have I got blown tyres or what? Tyres are still okay. Look at those flaps, they're more like air brakes. Let's put them up. So I could reload my guns and go and attack the in the east to the east of the airfield. There's a bunch of units that shoot back at me, and very often, no, not often, but sometimes they hit my cable that adjusts the prop pitch. This one here, if I move it slightly, they hit that cable, and if I can't adjust my prop pitch, that's the usual thing they do, but at very least they might pepper my wings with their guns. So I'll get rearmed.
Request refueling. Request
Copy.
rearming.
Copy.
I can't straighten up while they're doing that, because otherwise I'll hear, "Hey, what are you doing?" That's the fuel going in.
Refueling complete.
I'll just wait for it to be rearmed, and then I'll straighten up. I'll have to concentrate a lot more when I take off than when I finally got my wheels down on the ground and then went wiggly. Just waiting for them to tell me I'm rearmed.
Rearming complete.
Thank you. Brake off. I've got to set my nose down trim before I take off as well. So to explain again, taxiing in a spit is push the left rudder forward and put some brake on to turn left, and likewise the opposite for the right. I'll explain again briefly about taking off, although I've explained it earlier. I'll quickly explain it again. Okay, brake on. Adjust my nose down trim while I think of it. About a third of a division below neutral. That suits me fine. What a beautiful aircraft she is. Right, take off is brake off, stick back, full right aileron, throttle up, dance on the rudder pedals to keep it straight, and when she's up it's bring the gear up. And then I like to adjust trim again at that time to give one division of nose up, and then I adjust the prop pitch to give 2,700 revs, and then I close the cockpit. So see if I can do all that Brake. Oh no, I'll bring the throttle back first because otherwise it will start rolling as soon as I put the brake off. Right, brake off. Stick back full right aileron. Throttle up and dance on the pedals. Gear up. Just trim. Set my prop pitch. And close the canopy. Go find those ground units. There are 7 of them in this area. I can normally get them before they get me. Let's see what happens this time. There they are. I want to try and get those back to one after the other. That's not very easy, and the nearer one will be shooting at me. Here it comes. Missed him. Wobbling about too much. Destroyed the first one, but only clipped the second one. Oh, I only clipped him again, that's bad. I'm using Track IR, which is a unit that tracks my head movement so that I can look around the aircraft by moving my head. If you don't know what that is and you'd like to see it, let me know and I will change the view so you can see it. I'm trying to dodge as well, of course. I think that should have got him. Yeah, that got him. There's still one left on this side of the road. Alongside the road there are telegraph poles, well, power cables maybe, I don't know, but you have to be careful not to hit them. two more to get. Have I got enough ammo left after those wasted rounds earlier on? Over the top of him. Couldn't see because of the smoke. I think it's just that one left, I'm not sure. Yeah, there's 3 smoke piles on this side of the road, so that's just that one guy left. So if I've got enough ammo, I will have been able to clear all those 7 ground units. Yep. RTB. Going to take a quick look at my work before I go back. I'll fly along the right hand side of the runway, make a turn and come in from the other end. And this time, hopefully, I'll land without that slightly embarrassing wiggle at the end of it. I'll keep looking at what I'm doing instead of looking at the chat. Okay, canopy open. Prop pitch fully fine. picking up a bit of speed while I lose altitude. So if I put my gear down, that will slow me down a bit more. So gear down. Starting to throttle back. And flaps.
Chevy 1-1, Mazda, clear to taxi to runway 26.
Well, that's a bit.
Taxi to parking area.
That's a bit straighter than last time. I'm not going to the parking area. I'm going to reload. I don't think I've got damage. Don't think so. So I don't need to repair. Let's have a look. Again, look at those flaps. Like air brakes. Put them up. Okay, so I'll jump back in and get reloaded. Where aren't? Oh, hang on a minute. Have I got some wing pepper? I have got some wing peppering. I don't remember getting that. Is it visible from inside? It should be. Oh yeah, that must have happened on my last run then. So really, I should get repaired. Now that's a 3-minute job, so people watching might get fed up, but I should repair really, so hopefully people will stick around. Let's do a repair. For that I've got to shut the engine down because they won't repair it while it's running, funny enough. So the fuel cock, turn the fuel cock off, and I'll turn the fuel pump off as well. You should hear that. I know you won't hear it stop. Okay, I can now ask for... I've turned off the magnetos and that seems to stop that coughing at the end. I've got to remember to turn them on if when I'm going to start it, so let's get repaired.
Request repair. Copy. Request refueling. Request
Copy.
rearming.
Copy.
Fuel going in. That's nearly a minute gone already, so that's not so bad.
Fueling complete.
When it gets down to when the countdown finishes, you'll then see the aircraft be raised up like on jacks. They don't run around, you don't see them running around, but you do see the aircraft get lowered again, and having been repaired, it's now ready to go again. As predicted,
Rearming complete.
at least one person has decided they can't hang on for this bit. But it has to happen, so if they go, they go. If they stay, they stay. That's lovely. Thank you for staying with me, whoever it is. "80 seconds before the aircraft gets raised up for repair." Actually, I'm sure that I can still hear the fuel pump. I can hear the fuel pump. So at the end of this, those pepper marks on the right wing will disappear. There's nothing spectacular about it, they simply disappear. Notice how the joystick moves in the cockpit when I do it here. Look. Okay, the aircraft should be raised up. There we are, it's raised up. So repair has started. When repair is finished, it'll drop me back on the ground. All done. How much did that cost? You don't want to know. Okay, yeah, right. My fuel pump is still running, I can hear it. It shouldn't be, but it is. So that's a little glitch on the program. Not an important one by any means. So now I'll open the fuel cock again. And I remembered that I put the magnetos to the off position. The off position, but they didn't move. Oh, I know why, because I was talking at the time. When I use my push to talk, it ignores things that I do on switches. So obviously I threw those switches back to the off position whilst I was talking. If I now stop talking, if I put them forward, stop talking, and then throw them again, you'll see them drop back. So now they're both off, so let's put them back on again. Okay, and before I take off, I need to set my nose down trim to 1/3 of a division nose down. The other night there was 5 of us on this airfield when Naxor ran his server, which people can join. This is not a server, this is just my own copy of his mission. But in Naxor's actual mission, when I left there was 5 of us there. That was really quite good, quite a busy time, good fun. Okay, so I'm now ready to prime and start the engine. Okay. Start the engine. It's the two buttons. They're the boost and start buttons I have to press. Can't do it with the mouse, so home and delete keys to press those. And then once the engine is turning, I flip forward the mixture control lever. Here we go. I'm not totally straight, so I'll get straighter on the runway, get central and straight.
Chevy 1-1, Murdoch, clear to taxi to runway 26.
Now, because there's a taxiway to my right, and therefore I'm not seeing the proper width of the runway because of that taxiway curling in, but I think I'm straight-ish. I'm straight enough, I think. So it'll be brake off and then take off. I'm just going to adjust track IR a bit. And that makes it easier for me to see where I'm going and for you to see my feet. Right, stick back, throttle up, here we go. Gear up. Set prop pitch. Close canopy. Now you'll see in the distance the train that I shot up earlier on has prevented the next train from getting through, so we are getting what I said before, the log jam of trains. This one to the left can get through, I believe, because he's on the other track, but the one in front of me, I've got one behind him on the same track, so he can't, the guy that's on the same track can't get past. Well, I hit my rudder then and I was all over the place. I think I might have to adjust my rudder sensitivity because it is pretty sensitive. Of course, that will then affect how it works on takeoff. I'm hoping that there are no messages being put on the chat, because if there are, I'm not seeing them. Units on the bridge are shooting at me. Oh, I hit a telegraph pole. These are good to shoot at, but they're always a long way away. They're not very easy to see. If my viewer would like to see a different thing, then let me know. Oh, I got to swap slots first. It's not letting me do it. Perhaps I'm going to have to take off from slot 10, or did it actually get that? I'll try again, see if it'll let me select 56. Not that 56. No, I'm going to have to go from 10. So 10's a bit further along, so if I want to go to the same taxiway and take off from the same point, or in the same direction from the same point on that runway, I've got to go right, travel a lot further, and then go left, or I can turn left here and go that way and turn right, and I'll be right at the end of the runway. So perhaps I'll do that. No explanation on the startup. I think anyone that's seen this will know to some degree, and they're probably fed up with hearing me talking about it. See, no light yet. I've got to turn the power on. Okay, I'll set my altimeter, my nose down, and my rudder trim. Okay, that's all set. I'm going to turn left onto the taxiway and take off from right at the end of the runway instead of part the way along it. It's just a show. So I was on that one previously. I'm now on this one, so I'm going to go that way, not that way. Let's put the satellite view on. That's much more natural. Okay, let's taxi. Break off. I think my beer is asking me to open it. I think this is probably actually a lot more difficult than it is in reality, because when you squeeze that brake lever you can feel the pressure you're putting on, whereas this, I move it but I can't feel the pressure. I can only feel what this lever is doing. It's not the same as feeling pressure on a brake lever. So in various ways it could be actually more difficult to fly in sim because you can't feel anything in the same way. It might be more difficult in sim than in reality. So why don't that let me have a spit? A one-seater, of course. Can't see any tyre marks at this point, so I can't tell how well aligned I am. Theoretically it's okay, but we'll see. Okay, make sure everything's good. Hold on. I will open the pitot cover. Right, pitot tube is, or pitot heat rather. Pitot heat is on. Pitot is a tube that allows air movement to tell you how fast you're going. If it freezes up, you don't get that indication, or at least you don't get a reliable indication. Okay, I'm going. I didn't pour my beer. Illuminated sight, and make the guns ready. That little bit there. I'm going to make a quick hit on the insurgents further over this way, and then come back and land, and I'm concerned that I might be boring the viewer to tears, so I might have to find something else to do. Not so much in this, but perhaps a different thing like War Thunder or FSX. Went onto the other screen to adjust something. When I'm on the other screen, I can't fly the aircraft. I have to click back onto the DCS screen, which I didn't do in time, so I had no control of the aircraft at all. Right, I'm back to the choose a slot window, but I don't know whether to do this or War Thunder or FSX. The other night I quite enjoyed flying my Cherokee in FSX. The frame rate doesn't seem to work quite so well in FSX, but apart from that. Of course, War Thunder's pretty standard. I suppose I could do some tank sim in War Thunder. Tank sim is the best mode in War Thunder because there are no markers. It's much more realistic. You don't see a lot of little labels on aircraft, so that's good. Now I appreciate that not everyone can actually put messages on chat, so that could be the issue here. I'm going to wait a minute unless I get a different kind of request. I'll go to War Thunder. And this would seem a good point to pour my beer. Of course, I suppose it's possible that I'm speaking to a bot all this time, but I don't think they hang about for that long. I think they stay there for a while to monitor stuff, but I don't think they stay this long, so I'm assuming it's a viewer. Okay. I'm going to go to a War Thunder, during which time I will lose comms briefly. So I've put the hold on banner up. I'm going to swap over to the War Thunder profile in OBS, my streaming software, and I'm seeing chat on there. Oh, surely it's just not the new show. Let's hang on. That's my own chat, don't I? Okay, so I'm going to change now from DCS to War Thunder. And as I said, I will lose comms for a minute or so during that time. DCS is closing. Right, it's closed. I now have to change profiles in the software for my stick. So when I do that, that's when I briefly lose comms. Stand by. Right, I should have comms back now, I believe. But I'm not into War Thunder yet. But hopefully it will get me. Oh, it's get me there soon. But it's doing a download. Actually, it's some kind of a patch today. Probably all to do with choppers or ground units, so it doesn't affect me. I don't use either of those. Right, I can now go into War Thunder. Right, so as I said, this is sim, and it is tank sim, and therefore there are no markers. We have to be very careful before we squeeze the trigger. Now what's good is that I'm the only aircraft at the moment on this side, so any aircraft flying is an enemy aircraft, so that's good, that's helpful to me. And yeah, I know the enemy is behind me. I'm just gaining a bit of altitude over my own airfield for safety. And I have to look around because it's certainly not impossible that one of their guys has taken to the air, got here before I took off, and is just looking to pick me off. In fact, there's a guy over there, I've just seen him. And then I've just lost him. There's one low over there, it could be that he dived through. Just got to hope the other guy that I saw is this guy. Otherwise the other guy's probably going to get a bead on me. Of course, he's got a rear gunner as well, of course. I've got him smoking, but now I've lost him. He hasn't lost me. Oh, there's more than one. Oh, it's probably ground units that were hitting me. I'm going to have to go back to base. It's a 109. I don't think I can deal with it now. So I've got damage. He'll probably drop on my 6 and take me out now. So I'll have to weave. Yeah, he's firing. I just saw his bullets hit the ground. Hopefully I'm close enough that my airfield will give me cover. I wouldn't guarantee it. Surely my airfield should be shooting at him now. They are now. Get out. Too fast. As I've dropped, I've picked up a lot of speed. I'm going to have to go round. Now get down. I want to go back and find out 109. It's me and a lag flying on our side now. I'm guessing that 109 is still around. In this, it is so easy to take off because it's not realistic. It's reasonable, but it's not properly realistic. one guy on their runway. From his position, I would say he's just taken off, yeah. And hopefully he hasn't got mates around to help him out. He's probably got a tail gunner though. Usually take aircraft with tail gunners, which are ridiculously accurate. Well, I think he's going down. Yep, he's gone down, but I'm damaged. Oh, we got it. Good. I haven't done tank sim very much for quite a while. I've done it recently, but not very much. I just realised I've still got the hold on banner. Right, so that's the advantage of talking on the chat. If you can, you could say take that banner off. Wonder how much of that covered up the action. This is a long flight. Oh, hang on, they've changed it. This used to be this Novorossiysk. Yeah, Novorossiysk used to be a very long flight. They've changed it. Right, that's just me on this side. Me flying.
On me.
A lot of people in it though.
Attention to the designated grid square. Attention to the designated grid square.
Just one pilot on their side. Oh, oh good grief. 4 pilots on their side. Yeah, because I'm the only plane on this side. They're all enemy. Oh jeez. Perhaps I'll go for the one that's on his own. And hope the others don't see me.
Attention to the map. Attention to the designated grid square. Need backup.
I've got a feeling it's doing that flipping out thing again, because earlier on it reacted oddly when it really shouldn't have done. Has it gone back to the old flipping out business that it used to have? Right, I'll do one more. I'm doing one more and I might then call it a night, as far as flying is concerned. It's now called Ground Simulator, but they should call it Combined Forces. Why don't they? Because it's not ground, it's air and ground. I don't understand why it won't let me have the split 2B. Because I crashed it. Yeah, too early. That's why. Okay, I'll take the 5B. Right, so me and a P-38. P-38's already up. I'm going. Okay, so no IL-2 now. I'm seeing one enemy aircraft, I think. Yeah, because P-38 is up. Oh, there's two enemy aircraft. They're on the runway. Three enemy aircraft. Or is it two? Two planes. I've got to go home now. Well, we've got plenty of aircraft on our side now. Oh, good grief. Well, at least I got a kill before they got up there. For the benefit of the second viewer, I've just switched to War Thunder. I was in DCS. I'm now in War Thunder. I've just got a kill in this. I've had a couple of kills now tonight. This is DCS. This is Sim. Tank Sim, or they now call it Ground Forces. Why don't they call it Combined Forces? That's what they should call it, because that's what it is. I'm too fast, got to burn off some speed.
The enemy's getting closer to victory.
That's good enough. Get out.
Attention to the map. Reloading.
Okay. Okay, I guess I'm fully reloaded. Also got a P38, a 4F4 or F4F rather, and something else, a twin engine job. On my side, that is. P38, F4F, VB3. I just want to make sure I don't shoot them down. I think this guy's not fully experienced with it. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna go. Well, I just hope they've sent some aircraft up as well.
The enemy controls most of the strategic zones. We've lost, but next time, we'll win.
Well, I got a kill anyway. Got better than that. I got a kill and I survived, so that's good. Sometimes you get a kill and you don't survive. I'm back into automatically clicking the to battle button. In theory, that was going to be mine, well, possibly my last battle for the evening, but it seems to be going okay. So I'll have a sup of my beer instead. And this is the only negative, I think, with the ground forces or the combined forces battles in Sim, and that is that you don't know how long you're going to have to wait. It shows 8 on one side, 5 on the other, and sometimes it still doesn't go in. Other times it'll show 9 and 0 and it'll still go in. It'll still take you in. So it doesn't seem to compute. Well, the numbers are picking up anyway, so it shouldn't take too long. I've seen that drops to 5 and 0. Now, typically, what happens then is for some reason it takes you in. I'm not saying it will this time, but I've seen this situation where you've got 6, 8 and 0 and it still takes you in. How does that work? Again, if any preferences, just drop something in the chat. It's 6 done on one side and 12 on the other. By the way, if it sometimes sounds like I'm a bit squiffy, it's not this. I need to push to talk. It's not that does it. It's the fact that what I hear in my ears with my earbuds is very slightly delayed. When I speak, my own voice is very slightly delayed in my own ears, and it's very off-putting, and it does perhaps give the feeling of how many this guy had, but I haven't really had any. I've only had that, so that's what that's about. It's just the delay really makes it uncomfortable to speak. $21.18. We had 21 on that side from just a second ago. That's loads. But it always seems to be the other side that is lacking in participants. It gets there. So the next question is, which battle zone is it going to be? For some reason I'm feeling it might be the disused factory. I don't know why. If I'm right, then I'll go and put a bet on the horses, because I'm obviously just being lucky. But that's nearly 5 minutes we've been waiting here, folks. Well, more than 5 minutes now. One trick is to refresh, just sort of cancel and restart. I'm not convinced that does it. Oh, there we go. I'm not convinced that cancel and restart gets it going, but sometimes it feels that way. Well, it's not the factory. Frozen Pass. This one's okay. At least you should be able to see the enemies against the white snow. Ha! And the one person that joined got fed up just before it went in. Now that is absolutely typical, unless they saw Frozen Pass and didn't like it. I'm going to do this one. This one will be my last one unless someone else joins, because it's just frustrating when it takes so long to go in. I'm seeing one aircraft. It has to be enemy, especially in that position, but I'm the only one flying on our side. But in that position as well, it has to be enemy, really, at this stage. It's tempting to zoom in, but when I zoom out again, I lose their position. So 109. And of course they're all players, in case anyone watching doesn't know. So now I've got to find him again. Oh, his smoke will help, because I've just made him smoke. Oh, well, he went down. That's good enough. Oh, there's an aircraft up there and he's not ours. And I don't know where he went. Right, well he hasn't followed me in because I'm sure our airfield will be shooting at him by now.
Leading for landing. On me. Attention to the designated grid zone. Attention to the map. Attention to the designated grid zone. Negative. Attention to the map. Reloading. Attention to the map.
So if that other person had not left at the second that they did, they'd have been watching what's going on. I missed it.
Allied forces have captured a zone.
So that's good. The guy I shot down was 100 like me, so that's good. If it had been a 25 I would have felt a bit guilty about it, but he's 100, so that's good.
We're ahead of the enemy.
Again, I'm the only aircraft in this team, therefore all other aircraft are fair game.
Attention to the designated grid zone.
And there's one. Be nice to get 2 kills in the battle. Maximum so far is 4. Well, he went down. I didn't think he'd crashed. Oh, there he is. See, I don't know how they keep me in sight because I can't find them. I've got to get shelter from the airfield simply because I don't know where he is. Somewhere behind me, judging by the fact that the airfield is shooting. I can locate him, I'll go for him, but I can't do that if I can't see him. He's there somewhere. He's probably gone high. If he's like a 109, he's going to boom and zoom. So he wants altitude before he makes his boom and zoom job. Okay, I'm seeing a dot and I hope it's him. Well, once again, it's doing that flipping out thing. surely that's not him. I don't know.
Attention to the designated grid zone.
Ian, a TBF. Perhaps the TBF can be bait. I'll see what happens when he... Oh, he's not taking off.
Cover me.
Well, we're going to lose, but at least I got a kill. And if I don't do anything daft, I've survived.
Allied forces have captured a zone. Enemy forces have captured the zone.
Well, I'm amazed we haven't lost, but we just about made it. Well, that was pretty crazy. Right, I'm going to do just one more, literally just one more. If it goes in quick enough. Right, well, I don't think it's going in quick enough, and I could probably use a comfort break, so I'm going to cancel this, and for now at least I'm going to close the stream. Thanks for joining me. It's always good when someone's there, and I will catch you all another time. Take care. Ta-ta.